Hey, you guys, thanks for listening into this episode. On today, I have Mr. John with us. Hey, Mr. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, T.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
My name's John Vuong. I own a SEO agency. I founded this business back in 2013. Actually, bootstrapped this business to grow it to the size it is today. But prior to that, I was in advertising sales for 10 years. And yeah, I've been working all my life. I've been trying to get ahead all my life. And now that I have more stability and freedom, I have more choice. So I'd love to share some insights with you and your audience members today.
Awesome. Thank you once again for being a guest on the show. So, what are some financial tips you have learned from having a business?
So my background, I actually studied business finance as my university course degree, and then I was doing sales for 10 years. And the financial tips I've learned running a business is you need to know your numbers inside out. From the most important thing is sales, profitability, and margin. What you're buying lots of goods for, what are you selling it for, and after all the costs, what are you earning as a profit? And when you figure out what the margin is, and then you can then predict in terms of how much you can advertise and spend for sales reps to have more of a predictable model to determine what the profitability will be for
Mhm.
the years to come, if not just months. So it's all boiling down to like numbers, frequency, and then determining what works and what doesn't. And it does take a lot of time to analyze the data, but once you get a really good foundation in place in terms of your costs, the sales, the revenue, and then profit,
Mhm.
then you can have a better predictable measure of how to grow and scale your business.
Yeah, I mean, those things are very important because you do want to know whether you're profiting or whether you're having a loss and what type of changes you need to make in order to make profits. Because when you first start out, it really is kind of like a trial and error. Because you need to make sure that you're pricing your services or your products correctly in order for you to make a profit. So you won't break even. You got to factor in, like you were saying, all the costs it takes in order to create a product or to create your services. So those all those things do play a major factor when it comes to being a small business owner.
And I think at the beginning, like you mentioned, a lot of trial and error, but you want to just get clients. So you're probably undervaluing yourself at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
based on just the marketing strategy to get some traction, to get people to utilize your product and service, to then have a good customer experience, to then provide a good review, testimonial, or case study. Once you start getting more traction, then you can sell based on what you're actually worth. So at the beginning, yes, I was undervaluing my service. Yes, I needed to get clients. Yes, I was not paying myself. Yes, I was spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the pricing should be. And then as the years progressed, I got better, smarter. I got more comfortable selling a product and service that I knew people are willing to pay for and still have a good customer experience, knowing that they're paying for experience, expertise, solid track record, great multiple touch points, results, etc. So understanding all that takes time to run a business as well.
Awesome. So what software did you find to be very user friendly during your time to help you keep track of all these financial stuff that we need to keep track of?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I was using just a straightforward Excel spreadsheet, and then I moved to QuickBooks. I'm very fortunate to have my wife, where she's an accountant by trade. So she helped me along the way, and then we finally hired someone to do more of the bookkeeping, ongoing, just all the bills and payments. But the key is making sure you know every dollar in, every dollar out, where it's going, account for it, track it, and be very, very rigorous on the habit of, you know, inputting it on that spreadsheet, inputting it on a software. So you can really predict how your revenues are going to be. especially if you go for, coffee, lunch, dinners, you go buying software, buying product, but not even, writing and inputting on your software because you're paying cash or you're paying, not on your credit card statement, right? So understanding where you're spending your money, because it goes really quickly if you're not, you know, tracking everything, right? So
Mhm.
understanding it all.
Mhm. Now, would you recommend to start using Excel spreadsheets to get started, or?
I, yeah, that's a good question, because I would say what's comfortable for you is
Mhm.
individualized.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate things. Whatever works, if it is just a sheet of paper and you can just log a list of things that you're spending and you can be well organized doing it, that works for you, great. It's when you start getting a lot of transactions on a daily basis, you need some automation. You need a software that then pulls it into categories and then you can pull it on reports, right?
Mhm.
But at the beginning, you probably don't have huge amounts of expenses and huge amounts of revenue and sales. So it's okay to just put it on a spreadsheet or put it on a sheet of paper, right? And write it down.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I tell some of my clients too. I tell them, start if you're not tech savvy, start writing it down, keeping track of receipts. Um, Even my dad, he's a small business owner, but he's still that's how he does it because he's not really tech savvy. So he used receipts, and then I go in there and I just pretty much just go through his receipts for him because that's what he's used to and it works for him. So you really have to find what works best for you. So if you can't really afford the software or the new things that's out to help you, start with keeping records by hand by writing them down.
And don't overcomplicate things. People feel that there's new tools, new software that's supposed to simplify and automate things.
Mhm.
Well, you need to learn how to do it. And then if you're not tech savvy and you're not comfortable doing it, you're going to get more stressed, frustrated, and probably won't utilize it fully, right? So just do what you enjoy doing. And then when you get to a point where you're spending too much time doing it and you're getting frustrated, find a solution that can help you relieve your stress.
Awesome. So when did you start to understand how your financial management skills were affecting your business?
So for me, I think early days,
Mhm.
I was spending a lot of time tracking my expenses, sales, but even prior to that, like right after university, I had a huge debt of student loans, right? Tens, I think 30 or $40,000. I had to be really good with my money to pay it down or pay it off, right? I wanted to pay it off as quickly as possible to then have a opportunity to buy a car or move out and get my own rent, place to live. All these things allowed me to have really good management of my money skills in terms of tracking everything. And that's all, it takes. It's habits, right? Knowing where your money's coming from. If you have side hustles or not, if you have predictable revenue source like a salary or business revenue, then figure out, is there ways to get more, earn more, and what are my fixed costs, what
Mhm.
are my variable costs, what can I cut down, and maybe don't go on social outings that frequently, limit it, because that's a huge burden on your expenses today. Don't say don't do it forever, just limit yourself, right? So figure out like what works for you. And for me, at the beginning of running this business, I knew that I didn't have a lot of revenue. I didn't like running a business at the beginning. It's tough. You
Mhm.
have so many other things to worry about, like providing a great service product, knowing your customers, marketing it, sale it, customer service, then fulfillment, right? And then the revenue, like the profitability piece, is at the end. Like you never pay yourself at the beginning of any business, it feels like, right?
Mhm.
Because you want to make sure that the customer gets a really good user experience, customer experience. So that's one thing I should have done earlier. I should have paid myself earlier so that I know and I felt comfortable doing things that I do today without that stress and burden of financial, stress.
Yeah. It's that's all that is very important. I try to teach my, clients or whenever I do webinars and seminars to get a grip on it earlier. Cause especially like during this time, a lot of people understand now how important financial management is, especially now since like we're in this pandemic and everybody's trying to get the EDIL loans and the PPP, and then they come back and audit you and your books is not together, and then they want you to pay all this money back. Like, you really need to have things together, especially when it comes to getting business loans and things like that that help your business. You need to make sure your financial management skills are on point, your books are on point, because it can either help you or hurt you in the long run when it comes to getting certain type of funding.
It's organization, right? And it's all about like knowing the savviness of you being a business owner also means you need to split your time with bookkeeping,
Mm-hmm.
which is, that people hate paperwork,
Yeah,
but it's a part of business. You
it is.
need to know your numbers. You need to know where things come in and out, and, supply chain, inventory, everything, production, as well as that front facing. And if you're not good at certain aspects of your business, find people that are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Partner with people, hire people. So that skill set alone will save you a lot of stress and burden as well, so that you can focus on what you enjoy doing, right? Like if you love customer facing, do more of it. Hire people for the back end, operation management, accounting, bookkeeping, etc. But it all boils down to you as an individual. Why did you get into business in the first place? It's not to drive yourself crazy by doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really to have a more balanced lifestyle, and do things that you enjoy doing ultimately.
Awesome. Yeah, and I tell my clients too, I tell people don't go completely hands off. You need to know, like if you don't understand, like you said, hire that accounting, hire that, bookkeeper to show you and kind of teach you so you can understand how your business is operating.
Exactly.
Awesome. So thank you once again, Mr. John, for being on the show today. So tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you if they would like to render your services, and I will share the social media handles for you.
Yeah, definitely. They can check out my website. So I run this SEO agency called Local SEO Search. It's the URL is www.localseosearch.ca. So we're based in Toronto, Canada, but we service clients all over North America, UK, and Australia.
Awesome. And if you guys want to get in contact with me, you can do so. My number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation with me on the website at www.mjfinancial.biz. And you can find this episode on Anchor, you guys. And you can also find the playback for this video on the YouTube channel for MJ Financial Management. So thank you once again, Mr. John, for being on the show today. I highly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, T.
And you guys, we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.